One of my jobs is a politician, so I better push a timer to make sure I don't go over here. It's so great to be with you, and I want to say to this church, our first responders, our healthcare heroes, they really felt your prayers and your support, and it was appreciated during this 2.5 years of COVID. Before we had COVID, we had Ebola, and that's where I met my friend, George Mason. Louise Troe and her children lived at the Ivy Apartments, and the press had surrounded their apartments. Louise's friend and the father of her child, Eric Duncan, was our first American Ebola case. And there were threats of violence towards the family, and they were unsafe in their home. And it was in that era of fear, that time of uncertainty, that I met George Mason and prayed with him in his office. And we prayed for Louise and the family, our community, and we vowed to work together to keep her safe, the church safe, and the community safe. I remember the next time I saw George, it was 7 in the morning, and a man came in who was the health director for Governor Perry, and he said just simply, "It happened." And so I reached into my pocket of my pants, and I had what happens when Eric Duncan dies. And the first thing was to call George. So I called George. I believe George was working out. And he said, he said, I don't have my Bible. And I said, "I'll get one, I'll meet you there." By now, we had moved Louisa and her children to a safer place, a Catholic retreat. I remember going with George. We had the Bible. At first, it was hard to look at them. We didn't know what to say. But I just remember the compassion that George had for that family as we sat with them and broke the news that Eric had died. It was not only the loss of Eric, but it was also the fear of, will this happen to me? Because I lived in the house with him, and trying to reassure those children that they were going to be okay was a tall task for George, because we couldn't hug the children. What we had to do is stay 3 feet away, so we would hug ourselves and tell them that we loved them and that they would be okay. And that's just a small snippet of the love that George has had for our community. You know this as members of the church. George said, when other Baptists didn't, divorced people are full participants in the church. George said, when other people didn't, women are full participants in the church. And then George said, when other people didn't, and so did your church, LGBTQ people are full participants in the church. Sometimes it's not easy to do the right thing in the beginning, but it is always easier to do the right thing in the end. And George has stood for the right thing for as long as I've known him, and for 33 years, through racial polarization, through religious polarization, with his work with Faith Commons, with his work with SMU. Each time something happens, and I see Rabbi Nancy Kasten, who, I'm not Jewish, but she's my rabbi, and I am forever afraid of her. But he's worked with everyone. So through police shootings and through the murder of George Floyd, and pulling our community together. And in each of these things, the Muslim ban, realizing that we're stronger together and we can use bad for good. We can bring people together. And he does that time and time again. And I know that although this is his last sermon, I look forward to taking my notes on that sermon, that he is not done, and that he is going to continue to bless not only his family, but his community and all of you. I love him. He's my friend. I thank you for letting me be with you today. It's also my mother's 90th birthday celebration, so I will have to slip out if we're still going at 12. But God bless y'all.